Hello everyone. I welcome you at Advanced Multiple YouTube channel. Advanced Multiple Incorporation actually a knowledge processing and information management organization that is located in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. My name is Dr. Taha Nazir. I'm working as a scientific executive with the Intellectual Consortium of Drug Discovery and Technology Development Incorporation. Today, I'm going to share my knowledge and my information, my research under the title of the review transmission and treatment of infection that caused by resistant superbugs. For this purpose, I collected information from different open source, from different database companies like PubMed, Medline, Scopus, Google Scholar, National Library of Medicine, US, Embase, DOACH, Directory of Open Access Journal, ProQuest, CNKI, that stand for China National Knowledge Infrastructure. Some information collected from Crossref and the research team. These are the open access sources and information and the scientific data available for everyone. Okay, well, before moving forward, I would like to talk a little bit about four different categories of resistant strain. The first category, that is regular resistant microbial strain. The antibiotic resistant strain rendered the effectiveness of medication or the drug used for the treatment of infection. Second category is the multi-drug resistant. That bacteria or that organism is a resistant to many antibiotic drugs. Extensively drug resistant strains should be at least resistant to one agent in all antimicrobial categories. The fourth one is pan drug resistant. It is a really superbug. It is resistant to almost all available chemotherapeutic agents. So we have to treat it specially with some special techniques or with some particular combination of different antibiotic drugs. CDC is ranking the worst bacteria based on number of hospitalized and death in US. So this is actually an illustration of the discovery or invention of the antibiotic drug and development of the resistance against these antibiotics. We see penicillin was introduced or discovered by the Alexander Fleming in 1930, and that was commercially available for clinical use in hospitals and different walk-in clinics in 1940. These were very beneficial drug during the Second World War, and sufficiently used in Germany, France, Russia, and British, like in Britain. First resistant strain, pneumococcus, was identified in 1960. So penicillin was partially become ineffective against certain bacterial strain. Then tetracycline was introduced in 1950. First resistant strain named Shigella was identified in approximately 1960. Methicillin, that was first synthetic penicillin group drug, was introduced in 1960, and right after 3-4 years, the resistant strain Staphylococcus was identified in clinical setting. Gentamicin was introduced in market in 1965. Right after approximately 10 years, its resistant strain was identified with the name of Enterococcus. So Enterococcus strain of the bacteria, it gained resistance against gentamicin. Afterward, vancomycin was discovered and launched practically for clinical use in 1972. Two strains, Enterococcus and Staphylococcus, were identified in around 1985 and approximately 2000. Afterward, imipenem introduced, and its resistant strain Enterobacteriaceae was identified in clinic or in the hospitals. Levofloxacin, that is quinolone group drug, that is gyrase inhibitor, and that was discovered in approximately 1998, and we identify the resistant strain pneumococcus that produce infection in the lungs in around 1999. Daptomycin was introduced and it was stay in market for approximately 8 years, and then resistance noticed in market. Sertraline was discovered in 2010, and Staphylococcus that get resistance against sertraline. So this is the brief timeline of invention and development of the resistance against 10 major antibiotics available in market. Now, I would like to talk a little bit about the mechanism of development of the resistance in the bacteria. There are four major mechanisms by which resistance develop in the bacteria. First one is the inactivation of the drug by enzyme. Bacteria produce enzyme that inactivate, spoil, or destroy the drug. If drug is not available in the patient body, definitely it will not produce the pharmacological therapeutical effect, and the infection may not be controlled. Second mechanism by which a resistance develop in bacteria is the modification or alteration of the drug targets. All drugs have their particular specific targets at bacterial external or internal parts. Some of the some of the antibiotics they attack on the cell wall, some on the cell membrane, some on the ribosome. Then some of the drugs they attack on the RNA or DNA, like the genetic material. So if their target is modified, their chemistry, their configuration, and their nature is changed, then drug is unable to bind and produce its pharmacological effect, unable to destroy or to kill the bacteria, and bacteria become the resistance. The third mechanism by which resistance develop in the bacteria is uptake or entry of the drug is inhibited. Drug is not entered into the bacterial body, bacterial cell. It will be unable to produce the effect. So bacteria will survive. It will not be killed, and infection still be there, and resistance definitely will not present absorbed in clinical setting or hospital. The fourth mechanism by which bacteria get resistance is activation of drug efflux pump. There are the certain pump that excrete and expel the toxins, chemicals, or the mediators, modulators, chemicals from the inside the bacteria to the outside the bacteria. Inside mean intracellularly, that is expelled, or extracellularly. So if drug is not available inside the cell, then pharmacological therapeutical effect is not available and infection is there. We are unable to kill the bacteria. So there are also some other mechanism by which resistance developed in the bacteria or the microorganism, but these are the four major mechanisms by which resistance produced and established or developed in microorganism. Okay, well, now I would like to talk a little bit about how does antibiotic resistance occur. When we give a medication to the patient, either it is orally, parenterally, locally, it is suspension, syrup, or injectable, we give the drug to the patient. That should be at the therapeutical level. Therapeutical level mean the concentration of the drug should be at that concentration. It is effective therapeutically, and it should be able to kill the bacteria or microorganism. Some of the bacteria they get resistance. Drug will not work. They resist, and when they resist, they survive. Eventually, they got opportunity, multiply, reproduce, produce their progeny and offspring. They have sufficient number of bacteria inside the patient body, and that resistant genetic material may be transferred to the other bacteria too. So when this genetic material that is responsible to produce a resistance is transferred to the other susceptible bacteria, that susceptible bacteria become resistant then. Okay, well, it means the resistance is transmissible, that may be transferred from the resistant to the susceptible bacteria, and the susceptible bacteria become resistant against particular drug. This is actually the outline of a plasmid carrying multiple resistant genetic material. A single plasmid might have resistance against multiple therapeutical agents or multiple drugs. For example, it may have resistance against tetracycline, then trimethoprim, penicillin family, vancomycin, and some other drugs. So single plasmid might have competency to produce or establish or resist different kind of therapeutical agent or antibiotic drugs. This diagram actually highlights the hotspots of infection produced by the New Delhi metallo-beta-lactam 1 superbugs. This is one of the superbugs that was initially observed in New Delhi, and after that, it is identified in different part of the world. From the New Delhi, it is transferred to the Bangladesh, to the Pakistan, to the Bhutan. Afterward, it was identified in UK, in the USA, in Canada, and in Australia. In UK, it was identified in England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Iceland. This diagram actually demonstrates how the resistance transfer from a particular community or population through the human being or through the animals or the poultry. In human being, whenever someone got the infection with the resistant bacteria, it got the medication. Medication may not be effective, so it go to the home. When it go to the home or go to the hospital or clinic or clinical setting, it may transfer the infection to the other patients because it interact the people. It talk to the other patient. When it talk, interact with the other patient, it he may transfer the resistant microorganism to the other patient. From that patient, that is transferred to the whole community or whole population. In other side, from the poultry or the veterinary or livestock, that is stocks like meat or vegetable that is supplied in the market from the farmhouse, then from the farmhouse to market to the home where people eat, that may become sick with the resistant microorganism. So this is the mechanism by which resistant microorganism or resistant infection is spread or like they transfer to the other people. This diagram actually highlight or illustrate the application of the CRISPR-Cas system to degrade, repair, edit, repress, or inactivate the genes. Genetic material or the DNA is delivered by the three major mechanisms, that may be the transformation, maybe the transduction, or maybe the conjugation. Transformation is simply transfer of the genetic material from one organism or one DNA to the other DNA. Transcription is carried out through the viruses they call as phage viruses. These are very particular viruses. They help to like transfer the genetic material from one bacteria to the other bacteria. Conjugation that is conducted through the plasmid. So CRISPR-Cas is used for five major purposes: for the DNA degradation, for the DNA repair, for base editing, for the repression and activation. These five goals are achieved by the three procedures or three techniques, that may be the Cas nuclease activity, maybe the base modification, maybe the DCAS. DCAS means dead Cas mediated transcriptional regulation. Three strategies are potentially used to apply the CRISPR-Cas to achieve the five goals. Okay, well, this is actually the potential procedure or the technique or the treatment used to kill these superbugs. Definitely, there is some option available to kill or treat the superbugs. If there is infection that is produced by the superbugs, we have a patient he having the infection with the superbug, then we have four options. We can give him antibiotic, the new innovative or the novel antibiotic that is more specific or highly particular antibiotics against that superbug. We can use the phagotherapy, that is application of the viruses to kill the bacteria. It called as life against life. We can apply the procedure of the nanoparticles. The nanoparticles, metal bonded antibiotics may be used in nanomedicine to the patient for the treatment of the superbug infection. The fourth and final option is the new approaches. New approaches mean targeting the membrane or the other particular segment of the superbug to increase the vulnerability and the make sure the treatment of infection. Okay, well, this is actually illustration or outline of the review of antimicrobial resistance during 2014. The death attribute to antimicrobial resistance every year by the 2050. There may be the 4.7 million in Asia, in Oceania, or in Australia. That may be the 22,000, 4.1 million in Africa, to 392,000 in Latin America, and 317,000 in America. This diagram actually highlights the transmission of infection from one person to the other. So we should have to protect the patient from antibiotic resistant infection transmission. There are the three major procedure or three major way by which infection is transferred from one person to the other one. First one is during the surgery. During the surgery, we know that we use a lot of equipments and tools. That may be the NG tube, Bernoulli, cannula, feeding tubes, and catheter. These are major source of transmission of the infection. Second one is inappropriate infection control measures that is adopted or used in clinical setting and hospital. The third one is poor prescription behavior or poor prescription practice that is conducted or executed in a clinical setting. Okay, well, So, what are the precautionary measures we should have to adopt it? Better hygienic practice, access to clean water and sanitation, infection control and healthcare facility, vaccination, ensure compliance, rational antibiotic usage, use antibiotic only when prescribed by the healthcare professional, complete the full prescription even you feel better, never share antibiotics with other or use leftover prescription. Without urgent action, we are heading for a post-antibiotic era in which common infection and minor injuries can once again kill the people. Okay, well, in conclusion, the limited medication option for the treatment of superbug pose potential threat for healthcare professional because these limited option may not able to overcome the resistance. Therefore, investigation to expand the antibiotic range against emerging resistant bacteria will help to control the mortality and fatality. Okay, well, before closing the video today, I would like to gratitude and salute my uh, friends, my colleague, and my coworker, Shady Bajkar, Wolfgang, Daniel, Dustin Hawker, Marwal Mughrabi, then Terry, Noreen, Kunza, Robert, Amin, Arslan, and Ishtiaq. I appreciate their kind help to make this video today. I also acknowledge the contribution of Advanced Multiple Inc. and Intellectual Consortium of Drug Discovery and Technology Development in Corporation. Thank you very much for staying with me for so long time. See you soon in the next video. Take care. Bye for now.